All right, everybody, I guess we'll go ahead and get started, and we may have some folks kind of come in and out throughout the session here. But welcome to Marketing and Communications 101. First of all, thanks for everybody for joining us for Agency Conference. I know it's a little bit different this year than what we've done in the past. So thanks for coming on in to Marketing and Communications 101. This is kind of going to be a basic session, kind of. We're going to kind of go over some general things, and then I'm definitely want to leave enough time at the end to let you all ask some specific questions, or I have an idea about this, or what do you think about that? Anything like that. So I definitely want to make sure we leave enough time for doing that. I'm the only one that's going to present in this session. Actually, Lauren Barnes was our Director of Communications and Marketing. Her last day was Tuesday. She has a new job with a different nonprofit now. So I'm kind of the only one in communications at the moment until we get a new Director of Communications and Marketing in. So I'm doing a little bit of everything at the moment. So it's nothing new. We've had this happen before, and it happens, and we'll continue on and move with that. So those of you that have talked to Lauren, or perhaps did a story with Lauren, or have met her, she's not here with us anymore. So we're looking for someone to fill that spot, hopefully sooner than later. So again, Marketing Communications 101, let me give you kind of a rundown of what we're going to do here. I've kind of led to that a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a general presentation. I expect that to be about 20-25 minutes at the most. Again, it's just kind of some overarching things, kind of some basic ideas. Then we'll have some time for questions and comments. And please ask your questions, or if you have a question, if you have an idea, if you want to know something, I'll be happy to kind of answer that for you and or talk through that with you. For now, if you have a question while we're in the presentation, if you'll just use the chat box for your questions. I don't want you to forget that question by the time we're done. And I know a lot of times when I'm in these meetings and they get to the Q&A section, I go, oh my gosh, 10 minutes ago I had a question and now I can't remember what my question was going to be. So type in the chat box there what your question is, and we'll go back. I'll go back through that chat and we'll answer those questions. And then I may ask, if people have questions during that time, they can unmute themselves, or they can say they want to have a question. We can unmute you and handle your question there. So the last thing I want to talk, another thing I want to talk about is, don't forget, sign up for the grant giveaway. I know a lot of you have probably already signed up for that, and that's great. The address, I think, is going to be in the chat, but just in case you need it again, it's bit.ly/ETFB grants. You do have to use the caps for that. If you have already signed up, it is limited to one person per agency. So, we can't have 5 people from the same agency show up, because we want to give everybody an equal chance at playing the game today and getting a auto grant. So look for the chat and look for the link in the chat box throughout the day. I think the tech team was going to drop that in for us. And again, it's one sign up per agency. And like Tim said earlier, we are going to do one of those at 1 o'clock today. And then we are going to do one, I believe it starts at 2:10. We're going to give a lot of them away then. And you do have to be in the session in order to win, because you have to pick your box. So we want you to be sure that you're there for that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here in a little bit. First, for those of you who don't know who I am, I think I went through the list here, and I think I've met pretty much everybody in here at least once, or at least talked to you. My name is Michael Hetrick. I'm the communications manager here at the East Texas Food Bank. I have been here now for just over 11 years in communications. And before I started here at the East Texas Food Bank, I worked at KLTV7 for just over 7 years as a news editor and meteorologist. So I have a little bit of an advantage of knowing kind of how the communications things work as far as television and broadcasting. I didn't ever work in newspaper or radio or any of that kind of stuff, but I do know how some of that works as well. So it is a little bit of an advantage that I kind of know how they do things and can kind of cater to them a little bit to get them to cover some stories for me or for the organization or for our partner agencies as well. So it is a little bit of a skill that is nice to have. But that's not to say that you all can't do that with your local media partners that you have. We have a lot of agencies who have some great relationships with newspapers or with magazines or with radio in their town or anything like that. So you definitely want to try to use those to the best of your abilities. So let's talk a little bit high level here about why is marketing and communications important to my agency? Well, it's kind of a redundant question because obviously we want to let people know, we're helping. So as an agency or an organization, you want to let people in your community know what you're doing. And that's helping people have food for their families, helping our seniors, helping children have food, and they're able to make those meals. So that's kind of key number one. We want to let people know what we're doing and that we're helping. The next thing is we want to let people know about our services. Now, a lot of agencies that we partner with have more than just a food pantry. They might have a clothes closet. They may have utility services that they can provide. They may have benefits assistance when it comes to SNAP, when it comes to TANF or WIC or resources that we're able to supply as well. So you want to let people know that you've got other services than just a food bank or just food available at your agency. As a matter of fact, our resource center in Lufkin last week did a big senior expo where they had seniors come to the resource center. They had lots of resources available for them, kind of like a expo fair, if you will. It was kind of a controlled thing still because of COVID, obviously, but you want to let people know that that's going to be available to them. Another thing is, why is it important to my agency? Well, we want to let people know that we need help. And by help, I'm not just talking about volunteers, I'm also talking about donations. So I know a lot of times we talk about when we do marketing and communications, yeah, Michael, that's great. We want to let people know we have these services and that we help, but we also know we need people to help us, and they can do that by volunteers and through donations. And the last one of these is we want to let people know about our events. So very similar to about services, we want to let people know, hey, we're going to have a fun run, or hey, we're going to have an expo like we did at DP's Texas Resource Center, or hey, we're going to have a event here, the health department's going to come and do, flu shots or vaccines or whatever the case may be to help our families. So that's another thing that you want to, it's important to have marketing communications about those type of things as well. So let's talk about some different ways and channels we can use in our communications, in our kind of communication ways that we want to get our message out. Now, obviously I can't list every single thing here, and some of them I actually left off the list that I was thinking about earlier, and we'll talk about those. But of course, we have pretty basic things like a flyer, a newsletter. Those are still great ways to get people to know about what's happening in your agency, what's going on, and those type of things. Another one that's a big one is social media, and whether that's through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or YouTube or LinkedIn, or you name it. There's a million of them out there now. You all probably use at least one or two of these. Some of you may not use any of these, but that is a huge drawer and a huge audience that you're trying to reach now in social media. So we have to think about that. Is there some way that we can promote or use our marketing communications tools in social media? The other thing, traditional mail. Yes, people still mail letters, not as much as they used to, but traditional mail is still a big channel for different types of thank you letters, for information, for gifts, all of those type of things. For the food bank, we still do a lot of direct mail to donors. We still have people who mail in checks every month, or they'll mail in their credit card information. We process that here. A lot of that is going online and has been over the past 10 years plus, but we still have quite a bit of that. Another one, with the websites. It's another big communication key and a way that you can get your message out about what you're doing. I know a lot of our agencies have websites. Some of you don't because you're either running through a church or a different organization, or some of you are just not big enough to have a website. So and that's understandable. Maybe you decide not to do a website, but you decide to do a Facebook page instead. That's fine, same type of thing. Facebook, you can almost do just about everything you do on a website, but you can do in Facebook now for the most part. So there is that as well. Another one that I thought about was billboards. Again, not as common, but sometimes you want to think about, looking into a billboard. It just depends. Costs can sometimes be a little non-effective for that, but you can do that as well. The other things I left off of here, surprisingly, television and radio. Those are important things as well. Those reach mass markets as well, but TV and radio usage has been continuing to go down too. A lot of people have switched to phones. They've switched to their iPads now. I know I don't watch as much TV as I used to, at least the news for sure. Especially over the past couple of years, it hasn't been all great with COVID all the time, but a lot of people are moving away from radio and television. We still do some of that here, and I encourage you to still do what you can as far as stories and things. But so those are just kind of some common different things, different ways and channels that we can use. So when you start thinking about, how I want people to know my services or what I do or getting help, think about all those different channels that are available to you and, how would I use this and what's the most effective way? And that's one of the things we'll talk about here in just a second too. So this is the big question. I went through all these things and now you're probably thinking to yourself, but Michael, how can I do all this? I'm only one person in my organization. I don't have a whole team of people who can help me make flyers or do commercials or send mail or do a website for me or update my Facebook page. And I get it. I understand completely. In our communications here, we're obviously a lot larger organization, but we only have 2 people in our communications department, and that's it. There are a lot of food banks who have multiple people, 4, 5, 6 people that do different things depending on what they need. So I understand completely what it's like to be the only person who is in charge of doing all the things. And so I always tell people, here's the key to being successful in marketing and communications. Choose what you can do, what works best, and is most cost effective. That's really the 3-part key to this thing is choose what you can do, what works best, and what is most cost effective. Because at the end of the day, you can go and design this gorgeous flyer, print 500 of them, spend all this money on doing it, but is it going to be effective for what? Is it going to work best for who you're trying to reach? So a lot of times people will come to us and say, well, we need a flyer because we think this is going to, we're going to get this out. We're going to pass it out to people. Okay, well, we'll do that. But are you really going to reach the right people you need to reach? So it's always a thought of choose what you can do, what works best, and is most cost effective for you. Now, that could be running a Facebook post. If you boost a post, that might be putting an ad in the newspaper, if you think that's going to reach who you want to reach. So you just have to think about where people are and where are they going to see that and what's the best usage for doing that. So, the best ways to reach people. So you have to think about when you do these, what is kind of the best way to reach the specific audience that I'm looking for? Let's say, for example, I want to reach the people, those that need help. And, we're talking about families and seniors in this case. So in my community, I might think, okay, well, the best way to reach people might be the newspaper. If you have a newspaper that has a large readership, you might want to run an ad in the newspaper. Or you might say, you know what, the best way to reach the people I help or that know about my organization might be a Facebook post. If I'm looking and I might want to make a flyer that I take to a health district or a HHSC office or a workshop or a school, an elementary school or a campus, you want to reach families to let them know, hey, we have services available here for you. Just come on by when we're open. So just think about all those resources of the people that you serve, where they are and how you can reach them. The best ways to reach the people that want to help, and this is your donors, your volunteers, your community members, your businesses, and your organizations. So, what's a great way to reach that type of audience? Well, we know a lot of donors are online, and more people are moving online. They're getting more comfortable to making donations online. Not everybody. Some of them still want to do that by mail. Volunteers. We reach a lot of our volunteers online through Facebook posts and Instagram and Twitter and all of that. We have people, when we post about volunteering, they'll immediately put on there, who do we contact? We love volunteering here. When we send the stuff to Lufkin, a lot of times we have groups from DP's Texas Resource Center that'll say, we want to sign up. We'll be happy to come and volunteer. So you want to do that. Community members, that could be through a wide range of things. That could be your newspapers, your flyers, your radio, TV stations, things like that. Businesses and organizations, what's the most effective way to reach them sometimes? It may not always be the same for every business, but it is something that you want to keep in mind. How am I going to reach those people? What's the most effective way to do that? So we've gone through and we thought, okay, well, we have this, we figured out what we're going to do. We're going to figure out a tool for how we want to do it. We think we know the best way to reach the people that we want to reach, but now I've got to design this stuff. And I'm not a graphic designer. I'll tell you personally, I'm not a graphic designer at all. I do it. It's not the greatest. If somebody came along and looked at my design work, sometimes they would probably look at me with a face like, really, this is what you thought was great? But I'm also in the habit of, I just got to get it done and move on. So there are some free tools out there that can help you and can make things like Facebook posts and flyers and presentations and all these things look like you hired somebody very expensive to do them. So one of them I'm going to talk about today is called Canva. And this is a big free one that is great. Now they do have a paid version of Canva that you can use also. That does get you some other tools and things, but I want to show you this because I think this will be very, very effective for your organization to help, to your organizations to help as far as, let me see where it is here. Open my screen. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is called Canva, and what it is, and it's Canva. And you can go up here, and when you sign in, you can, once you make a free account, you can go in and find all sorts of things that you might want to create. Okay, so for example, if I go up here to create a design and I go, you know what, I want to make a flyer. Okay, so I type in flyer and I go, okay, I'm just going to do a standard 8.5 by 11 flyer. Okay, now there's my blank canvas of flyer. But if I go over here on the left, I get all of these templates that I can look at. Now, some of them probably will never apply to you, okay? But you can take some of these kind of real fancy templates and make, swap out the pictures, maybe change the text a little bit, and make them look good. So for example, if I wanted to go, it says summer camp, for example, but let me find one that's a little more, okay, here's some fundraising flyers, okay? So let's say, for instance, we'll just take this one, for example. Okay, so I just bring this over, I drag it in, and now I can go in and I can change out this picture, I can change out this text to make it be whatever I want it to be. And without even having to do a lot, but some minor little changes to stuff, I have a flyer that's done, completed. I don't even have to, and from this, all I have to do is once I get it finished, I go up here, I do a print, I download it, it comes down for me, and there it is. It's a PDF, it's ready to print, and I'm done. Okay, so it's really easy stuff. I mean, you don't have to, because I know the problem for me a lot of times is I sit around and go, oh my gosh, how am I even going to design this thing? You know, what am I going to do? What am I going to make it look like? So a lot of times what I might do is if I don't design it in Canva, which I don't know why you would not, but I could go into Canva and just get an idea and then come back and design something. So there's all different kinds of things in here. So even if you do a search, so let's say, for instance, you're going to do, let me see, like a volunteer flyer, for example. Let's see. Look at this. We have all sorts of volunteer flyers that you can make. So you can essentially take these templates, update them for your agency, change out the pictures, change out the text, real quick, easy. You know, it simply, you just type in what you want, change it, and you're done. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Another thing that's really nice about Canva is, let's go back here, is for your social media. Now, a lot of times when we do social media graphics, we forget what size things are supposed to be. So we end up putting stuff up and if the graphic is too small, it's too big, it doesn't look right, all that kind of stuff, because social media changes the sizes a lot. So the great thing with Canva is I can go in here and I can say, okay, I want to do a Facebook post. Okay, so I just want to just do a regular Facebook post. So I can go in here and now it gives me the exact size that I need for my Facebook post. So another great thing that's cool is when you go in and add your own pictures or your logos or anything like that, all of that stays in here for you. So you always can go back and pull things for later. So for example, if I wanted to take this lady and do a Facebook post with her, I could drag her picture in. I could go in here and easily size this up, make her fit. You know, if I just wanted to have the picture of her and that was it, I could do that. If I wanted to write some text in here, I could write some text in here, whatever I would want. I could change the colors, I could do everything. So you don't have to be a real fancy designer using Canva. It's really simple to go in and use everything. You can do different shapes, you can add some graphics, you can do all sorts of things. So that's one really good tool that is free for you to use. There are some different levels of Canva that do involve some paying if you wanted to, but for the most part, everything's pretty much free. The other thing that's nice in here is they have what they call the Canva Design School. So if you ever sign up on this and you really start to get excited about doing it, they have a lot of courses in here that will show you how you can do things like designing it. A lot of educators use this, presenting, you can do presentations in it. So if you don't have to buy the expensive Office suite to do a presentation, you can do all of it through here as well. And a lot of their classes are free. So CANVA. And somebody in the chat, Jerry Combs, says Clover Site is another web page development tool. Very easy to use. There is a small monthly fee. So Clover Site, I don't think I've ever heard of Clover Site, Jerry, but that's an interesting way too. If you wanted, he said it was for websites. We'll take a look at it real quick. Let's see. So this is for, oh, this looks like for churches and organizations like that. It looks like this is something that you can build a quick and easy website on. This is cool too. So perhaps you don't have a web team or somebody who can go in and build you a big fancy website. This is a really cool idea as well. You can go in and do that, and you can look at the pricing. And a lot of times I'll just tell you, especially in Canva, yeah, there's some pricing for that. A lot of times in Canva, if you are a nonprofit, which most of you are going to be in order to be partners with us, you can actually get some discounts on the pro stuff. They cut it down, I think 40–50% on the monthly fees. So you can always go in and read about that as well.
Hey, Michael, this
Yeah.
is Kurt from First Resource Center.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything on Techsoup for this type of venture?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever seen anything on Techsoup?
Techsoup. Sorry, Jerry. I was having a little problem hearing you. You were kind of warbling out a little bit there. Yeah, Techsoup is also a really good site.
I didn't know if there's any software for this of this type, right?
Yes, I'm not sure if Canva is on Techsoup or not. They probably are. Let's see.
But if folks aren't familiar with this will help them with some of their technical resource purchases for free.
Yeah. So what Techsoup is, for those of you who don't know, you can go into Techsoup, you sign up for it, and you can pay very low costs for a lot of software. So things like email clients, or we use one of the things that we're going to actually get from Techsoup pretty soon for some of our departments is Asana, which is project management. But I know Microsoft.
Yeah, you can get Office, the business version.
Yeah, you can get
like
really
$50.
Yeah, like $50. You can get the whole Office suite. So
I saw on that last page you were just looking at, they actually had Constant Contact too.
Yeah, Constant Contact.
Another marketing tool. I hadn't seen that one before. So thanks for pulling it up.
Yeah. Constant Contact, for those of you who don't know, is an email marketing program. Where it is on here, let's see it in the list. We use here at the food bank, we use MailChimp, but Constant Contact is another one you can use that you can email to your donors or your constituents or anybody. You can email to your clients if you wanted to, for example. So if you, or your family. So if you can collect email addresses from them, you put them in that database, you can send them an email letting them know you're going to be open these days, you're going to be closed this day, whatever the case on that. The last couple things I want to share with you here, and then we'll open up for questions. To the screen. There is an article called 8 Easy Steps to Marketing Your Nonprofit. I'm not going to click into it. If you do want to write that down, you can Google search it. It'll come up for you. It's the actual article. But there are some really easy things that you can do. I'll pull it up for you. Just popped up. So this is something about, why your nonprofit needs marketing. This might be something that you go to somebody with that may be higher up in your organization or whatever. These are kind of some tips you can go. We talked about, determining your target market, setting goals of what you want to do, creating your materials, your social media strategy. That's one that I have to do it a lot of times. It's not my favorite thing. I don't get me wrong. I like social media. It's just, it can be very time consuming, especially when you're going to have to do a lot of planning on things, creating your websites, creating databases, showcasing your results, and then forming those partnerships. So that's a really good article as well, to just kind of go over some basic steps on that. And another thing I will mention, a little bit of promotion here for us here at the food bank. In Agency Institute, we actually do 2 sessions on communications and marketing. One of those is telling your story, where we talk about mission and vision and storytelling and elevator pitches and speaking to groups. And the other one is engaging the public. So for those of you who are joining us this year for Agency Institute, we're going to be going into much more detail about how you can talk to the public with public relations and those type of things in January and February. That's when we do those sessions. And for those of you who are not in Agency Institute, I encourage you to apply for that. It's a really great program that we do over several months here at the food bank. And everybody who's been in Agency Institute learns a tremendous amount about not just, what we do here at the food bank, but everything as far as fundraising. There's board governance in there. There's obviously the piece that we do in communications and marketing as well. So if you are in that, I'll see you in January and February for that. But if you're not, I encourage you to get involved with Agency Institute for that. All right, so that kind of wraps up my portion here. We have about, I'd say about 14, 15 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about anything specific or want to know how to do certain things? Or, I have a question, I'm sure we could spend hours and hours going through, well, I have questions about Facebook, and even when we do the session on Agency Institute, a lot of times people will say, we'll spend some time in Facebook. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a pro at Facebook. I use it every day here at the food bank, and I do the best I can with what we know, but we all know it changes about every day when we go in there. Every time I go in, I go, why did they move this? This makes no sense. So if you do have a question, you can type it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, we'll be happy to do that as well. Anybody? Question, comment, how to do something, what the best advice is?
I have a question.
Sure, Patty.
If I want to do something on Canva and get lost, can I call you for help if I need a little something on that, if I can't figure it out?
Yeah, sure. You can you can call or send me an email.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I really just started using it within the past year. When Lauren Barnes was here, she used it a lot. So we were kind of training on it a little bit to learn how to use it. It's pretty easy. I promise you can't really mess up too much in it. It's pretty click friendly on moving stuff around or uploading your pictures and stuff. They do have some really good help files on it. So I would encourage you to check in there too, and how to do designs and things. But yeah, you're welcome to give me a call, and if I can't figure it out, I'll try to figure it out the best I can. But
thank you so much.
But I will tell you, it is a lot easier to use that product to design things than it is something like Adobe Photoshop or InDesign. These real high level technical granular programs, which I still use those too. But if you've ever used Photoshop, there's so many things over on the left-hand column that you have no idea what they do.
So Canva is probably the best idea for somebody like me who is kind of iffy sometimes, and I thank you very much.
Yes, and it's a great tool, and like I said, it's free. You can go on, you can sign up and make an account. Now, there might be some features that you might want that you do have to pay for a subscription fee for. So just FYI, I just want to put that out there. Don't think everything in there is going to be free for you, but for the most part, most of the things you're going to look at or need are going to be free.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
I had a comment.
Yeah.
Hi. I started looking at the Canva, and that's a really good tool. I've noticed over the last couple of months that I've gotten pretty lazy on the quality of my advertising. Well, a lot of that was because of the pandemic. So we just got busy with work. And so the advertising really hasn't been good. And I haven't been good now at telling the stories. And I really feel it's very important to get back to it to build that up. And I think that Canva is a really good tool. Very glad you told us about that.
Yeah, we've been constantly putting stuff out too. I mean, and it does get tiring. I mean, on top of us doing normally what we do, we still have to
A
send
normal
out
job.
messages and things
Yeah.
to keep people going. And so
It is.
a lot of days I come in and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to post about today? There is a little bit of an advantage if you plan out ahead of time. You kind of know what you're going to post. So there
Yeah.
is an advantage to that, but it does take the time to sit down and go, okay, Monday I'm going to do this. Tuesday I want to do this. Wednesday I want to do a client, a family story. Thursday I want to do, so it takes the time to plan that out. And I try to get a good 30 minutes to an hour every week to sit down and really think about what we're gonna post. There is knowledge and research behind posting almost every single day. Because I know a lot of people ask, well, how many times do I need to post on Facebook? You got to build that audience. And so by building that audience, posting every day does help build those engagements.
Yes.
Build those,
And by planning it out also, it prevents you from doing a whole bunch all at once, which is real bad too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to do.
Can I interject into that? You can also schedule those out. So like if you spend 30 minutes a day, you can schedule for the week, really. It's the best.
Yeah.
Not that I've done that, but I need to do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Shauna.
Me too.
Yeah, you can, at least in well, actually all the tools, Facebook, I know for sure has what they call the creator studio that you can go in and schedule out what you're going to, you can put your picture in there, you can put your text in there, and you say, post this at 9 p.m. on Saturday or 9 a.m. Saturday morning. I do that a lot on the weekends. I put stuff in there and then I just say, post it at 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Because I don't want to have to remember if I'm at home going, oh no, I got to put this post up today.
Yeah.
Or if I get busy here at the office one day. And a lot of our posts we do in the afternoon, if you'll notice, because a lot of times I'll get to the afternoon and go, oh my gosh, I haven't posted it today. But we've also found, and this is different for every single group, every organization, everybody who has followers and likes on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever you're using, different times a day work for different people. So I'm not an expert of saying you have to post at 10 a.m. on this day to get the most people, because people use it different times of the day. And there's actually tools. If you're an administrator in Facebook, you can go in and look at what's called your insights. And when we do Agency Institute, we talk a little bit about this, but you can go in and see when your people are actually online on their Facebook page. You can also see who is on your Facebook page. Are they men, women? You can see ages, you can see where they live, you can see all that information. So once you get into the back end of social media sites, you start really realizing how much information they know about you because you see it all, it's available.
Yeah. You mentioned Agency Institute again. Would it be possible for someone who's done it before, like at the very beginning, to come back around after a certain number of years and do it again?
I don't know what their policy is on that. Yeah, you'd have to check.
It was just really inspirational on getting a lot of things straight,
Yeah, I remember you being in there that first year, Alethea. Yeah, it's really a great program. Yeah, it's really great. Somebody, I was going to say too, somebody had mentioned in the chat here, Ellen said, there's a lot of tutorials for these programs if you search their name on YouTube. That's absolutely right, Ellen, there are. Canva has there's a lot of YouTube. As a matter of fact, what's so interesting, I'm glad you said that. I think it was on YouTube. Was it on YouTube? I don't know. Or it was on some training site, but it was free. I found a training on basics of Canva. So there's something out there. If you go to YouTube and you just type in there Canva basics, it may take you through 10 videos, a little step through of how to do some things in Canva. So there are those things out there too. All right, I think we've got about 5 more minutes here. So I want to ask if anybody else has questions or comments or something they want to share that's worked or didn't work for them or in marketing, in communications. Anybody? I know it can be a little overwhelming, especially when you're ingrained in your day-to-day of, you know, I've got to run the food pantry today and we're doing this, this, and this, and I've got volunteers showing up and what am I going to do? You know, so you just have to kind of make some time for that. And, you know, I know not everybody can just get a bunch of staff to come in and help them do things. And volunteers will help you a lot of times, especially if you can get people who are volunteer, who are good at things like graphic design or social media, or will help you write some stories. I mean, I always tell people in Agency Institute, we talk about, you know, we do a thing where you go through and find out who all your public relations people are in your area. So like your newspapers and your TVs and your radio stations and stuff. And I always say, if you can find volunteers, especially college volunteers who want to intern and communications interns especially, they will help you. They will write stuff for you. They will create things for you. They will do all of that. So you don't even have to, I mean, yes, you have to approve it, obviously, but it's a good thing to remember too, that you can find some volunteers. Good volunteers sometimes will help you design some things too. So, all right. Well, anybody else have anything else you want to mention before we? I'm not sure.
Patrick, thank you so much. That was very helpful, and I appreciate
You're welcome. And you know, we can you're always welcome to email me here at the food bank or give us a call. We can help you. I'm not going to say that we can design everybody's flyers for you or any of that kind of thing. I don't want to commit us to that, but we're always here to help support you because you all help us tremendously, especially when TV stations call and go, hey, we want to talk to a client today about such and such and such and such. And so my first call is always to, you know, St. Paul's or Path, or, you know, or if it's Longview, we've done some stories in Longview before, you know, going, help, we need to do a story today. Can we come and bother your pantry? So we appreciate when you all come through for us. So. All right. Well, I think we are done. I don't know how, I'm not sure if they're going to move everybody back or if you all have to move to different rooms or how all that's going to help. But thank you all for being here. Again, don't forget, register for the grants giveaway. I want to be absolutely certain that that you all do that. We're not on here, are we? I want to be absolutely certain that you all get signed up for that, because that's going to be fun this afternoon. And I mean, I get to give away money. What's more fun than that, right? So, all right, we'll see you all. I'll see you all later on this afternoon, and enjoy your next session.